Good morning. Good morning. Y'all almost left myself muted saying good morning. Good morning, Gamecock Jenny. How you doing, beautiful? Hey, Watcher. How you doing, gorgeous? Oh man, y'all. So I'm waking up. We got to do the fibro scan today, and my son's fibro scan was not covered by his insurance, so I had to pay $110 out of pocket. So that's why I made that post the other day. I want to thank you to everybody who supports my channel, whether you're a member, whatever it might be, because that is it helped me pay out of pocket for that shit. Because that shit ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? None of those things not cheap. Now, some of the test results have not came back yet, obviously, because they are special tests. They have to send it off to a lab. It's not like it goes to their in-house lab, right? I do believe that they have to send it off to another lab for it to be genotyped and stuff, and it comes in at a later date. I've been keeping an eye on it. Trust me. Yesterday, I did fix his my chart so I could look at it better because the way they had it set up, it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't right. I couldn't catch none of what was going on. I didn't see none of the original test and all that other stuff. I was like, what's going on with this? But now I can see everything. So that's good. Good morning, love. Um, but so and good morning to all the bushwashers out there that are busy this morning and you doing stuff and all that good love the stuff. I hope you're having a good morning wherever you're at in the world, and hope you drinking your coffee. Um, you know, I I know today is True Crime Thursday, and I usually I'm gonna probably look into some of the true crime stuff that's going on, but I'm so tired this morning from everything that's been going on. Um, that I ain't had a chance necessarily to put together. Y'all know when I put together my true crime shows that I like to be super professional. I like to have all of the cases lined up so we can talk about them. I didn't have time this morning. That's why I named it Coffee Conversations. So if we get to talking about like the Diddy situation or the Karen Reed trial or any of that stuff that y'all might be interested in, we don't have to put that pressure on ourselves, right? We could just talk about cake right now if we really wanted to, because during coffee conversations, we could talk about anything, right? Um, so, I was over there chilling with some of my homies from the beef sector, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I do sometimes, I have been missing quite a bit in my beef sector family because I don't know about y'all, but anybody knows um, you know, what sector you originally come from. If you're well respected there, well loved there, that's like home to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you know all the players, you know everybody that's in it. You know what I'm saying? And you're cool with everybody. So beef sector's like my home base. You know what I'm saying? It's like where I feel my comfort. And I don't know. I know that I have met some amazing people. Um, I know, right? Um, but like how like you feel kinship to something you've been a part of for many many years. I've been a part of the beef sector since its inception. So that was back in 2016 or 17. That was a while back. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere I forget exactly what year the beef sector was created. But also for all those who don't know what the beef sector is, I'm gonna give y'all a history rundown, right? A little short history. The beef sector was formed because of, hey, Twisted Tea, my love, I have missed you so much. I know you've been covering the Karen Reed trial. Here's my question for you, Twisted. Do you think it's a conspiracy? Do you think it's a cover up? Do you think she did it? Because some people say she did it. Some people think that the other family had something to do with it and it was a cover up. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you ever want to do a live show, Twisted Tea, and you want to like have guest or panel guest, I would never mind being a panel guest of yours. I love you, Twisted, and you don't have to show your face on um on camera. You could do like I do and sit behind your avatar. You know what I'm trying to say? And like chill. You know what I mean? Um, you ain't gotta be all like, ooh, But if you ever want to do that, just let me know, beautiful. I want to be able to support you like you support me, Twisted Love. Same thing, Watcher knows the same thing. Any of y'all who support me, Miss Gamecock Jenny, she does her lives. If y'all ever want to have a live and you just want to have a talk to each other type of moment, even if it's just a bullshit or whatever, just let me know. Because here's the thing, you pour into me, so I want to pour into you. You know what I mean? Yeah, so the reasonable doubt's already there um, to find her innocent. So there's reasonable doubt right now until they can prove without a shadow of doubt. So there's reasonable doubt. So you can't say 100% whether she did it or not. That's the way I feel about it. I'm just tired, Twisted Love, with all this stuff going on and everything. Um, you know, um, with the Karen Breed thing, I don't know if she did it or didn't do it because I don't know if those people had something to do with it. I don't like it's like got me on the fence. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's not a definite that she's actually the reason he passed away because he had a dog bite on him, all this other stuff. I don't know if what I'm thinking now. This is my theory about the situation. This is what I think happened. I believe they were in the house. They got into some kind of kerfuffle. And you know how dogs are when people fight or raise voices, they get freaked out and they bite people. That's why if you have drinking and stuff like that, I think you should put your animals up, if especially if you know your animal is that type to get nervous about those situations. Because people who drink sometimes fight, and animals don't understand when two people are fighting, right? They just know they have to stop it and they're scared, right? And most animals are like that. And so what I believe is they went to fighting in the living room or some shit like that, having some kind of big kerfuffle. There was, I think him and Karen had some words, and I think the other people were involved, and maybe one took one side and one took the other side. You can imagine a drunken party at a house, right? Imagine they're having problems in their relationship and they start having like confrontation. Well, the one dude jumps up in the other dude's face because let's say that the victim in this case actually was like all up in her face, right? Well, that would make sense for another man to step up and say, "Nah, I don't care what you do, man. You ain't gonna get up in her face like that," right? It could have been he accused one dude of sleeping with his girl. You get what I'm saying? I've seen that happen when people drink. He could accuse that one girl's husband of trying to sleep with his wife, or vice versa. She could have been accusing, blah blah blah, and there was this huge kerfuffle, and the dog bit because he was trying to protect his owner, right? They probably got in each other's faces. And I believe, she said, "Fuck this, I'm out." She got in the car, right? And I believe that he stumbled out there trying to stop her, right? Trying to stop her. I don't believe she hit him. I believe that they had a fight inside that house, like an actual fist fight. And I believe he passed out, on the whatever, from injuries. And it is possible she may have hit him, but it could have been a combination. Here's the thing. It could have been a combination if those two fought, old dude hit him hard enough, right? It could have been a combination of multiple things together to make him pass away, if that makes sense. The drinking, the fact that if him and old dude fought or whatnot, he could have gave him some mott knots and could have like problems with his brain and all that other lovely stuff, right? And then she could have accidentally hit him with a car that helped him pass out more. He could have already had some injuries that she didn't know about from that situation. You get what I mean? He could have fell, hit his head. Everybody thought he was fine because he got back up, but just because you get back up doesn't mean that you don't have internal injuries you can't see, right? And it could have been a combination of all three, if that makes sense. I believe there was a combination of things that night that took place that caused that issue. I think him and old dude got to fighting, like fist fighting, because they were drunk and all that other shit. And I think that his injuries are more consistent with a fight of some kind, right? And I think that he stumbled out there to try to stop her and fell in the snow. That's what I think. I think he did stumble out there himself, but I think the injuries he didn't know he had. Um, have you ever heard of like there are people who don't even realize that they have a punctured? Here's a possibility. Here's another possibility. There's a lot of possibilities. If you punch somebody hard enough in the ribs, you can actually crack a rib. If you crack a rib, and let's say she accidentally did bump him with the car, if that rib was already cracked from the fight, right, then that rib decides to puncture his lung. So the two people, both parties, were actually guilty and caused his passing away, if that makes sense. Not just her. I think there's multiple things that happened that night that led to it. So it's not just one person, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's multiple things. I think a lot of people are hiding stuff and not telling the full truth because they're scared they're going to get in trouble. If that makes sense. Like, there's a lot that happened inside the house with the animal biting him, all this other stuff. I believe there was a confrontation within the home. In the house, I think there was a confrontation between all of them. Now, I have heard, I don't know about y'all, but many times, many times, I have heard many times that police officers are very abusive to their wives and stuff. And like, they'd be having swinger parties and all this stuff or accusing them of cheating all the time, all kind of crazy shit, right? I believe I believe that it was multiple things that led to his passing. And that is messed up. Why would they all of a sudden get rid of the dog, refinish the basement, and sell the house under value in a good market? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Something happened in that basement. And you know what I'm saying? It could have been they were at a swingers party and nobody wants to admit to being swingers. They could have been at a swinger party. And then let's say he just got jealous. You know what I'm saying? Because she was being more vocal with the other dude than she ever was with him, right? They could have been swingers. There's a lot that could have went on there that they're not telling. You know what I'm saying? Could have been they got into an altercation down in the basement. They moved the altercation from downstairs, pushed him against walls, slamming him into walls. Could have cracked a rib, busted the back of his head. You know, and he could have still been very well conscious. Because here's the thing: people who are drinking and people who are in a situation like that, the adrenaline that is running when that happens, you don't feel injury sometimes right away, right? Because of the adrenaline. And you'll be surprised what your body can do when you're in an adrenaline rush. There have been cases of mothers lifting cars. I mean, a 98-pound woman lifting 1,000, however poundage the car is, off of children. Adrenaline can make you do some crazy stuff. I have heard about people lifting up vehicles, you know, people that you wouldn't assume could do it because they're not that strong in real life, but the adrenaline makes them strong. Hey, Mr. Maddie. So it's very possible that the adrenaline was keeping him running, Twisted Tea, and he had severe internal injuries from whatever altercation happened in that house. Um, and they moved it upstairs. And then as they were fighting upstairs, that's when the dog bite happened. And then he went out the front door and fell over and died right there, right? It is very possible that he had injuries from that scuffle and adrenaline kept him moving. Very possible. They've said that people who have broke their necks, if they were in an adrenaline state, have kept walking. People who've had rebarb stuck through their entire, like stuck through them, strew them. He didn't have any internal injuries. What were all the injuries, Twisted? Because that actually the injuries would be more telling. I can't remember. Let me look them up. What was Karen Reed's husband's injuries? What was Karen Reed's husband's injuries? Do John O'Keefe, it says the expert witness says he had a fatal head injury from falling. Let's see. It says the fall back hitting his head is what the one person said. Because I know that you've done a lot of deep diving into this. Yeah, skull injury and the dog bites. So here's the thing. That is also very possible that when they were outside doing the scuffle, the dog ran out, bit him, he fell back and busted his head. He could have done that in the basement. In the basement, he could have did that in the front room. He could have did that outside. That's a prosecution expert. Okay, so we're waiting on the defense experts to really go more into it. Did they show the coroner's report? Let me see if I can find the coroner's report. Let's see. Autopsy. Because the autopsy report. Now, it is very possible that he could have slipped. Now, here's another possibility. There's also a possibility that nobody but himself is responsible. It is very possible that if the dog bit him, right, or he was running, that he could have slipped on some ice, fell on the back of his head, and passed away from his own recognizance. That is also very, very possible because how many people have accidentally pushed somebody and you don't even realize it? You could push somebody and they could fall into a table and be unalived. The defense has experts hired by the FBI that says he's not hit by a car. If in case it was the car, you know, now here's the thing. That doesn't mean that she didn't bump him because she could have very well bumped him and made him lose his balance because he was drunk, right? But in order for her to actually hit him, yes, he would have sustained more possible injuries like on his elbows, on his back, on his buttocks, because he would have hit, head, back, butt, and would have had like bruising upon those areas. But also, it does depend on Twisted Tea. A lot of people are not taking into account if you're not moving fast and you barely hit somebody, you could just make them lose their balance, right? You don't have to hit them like going real fast. Now, if you're hitting them real fast, of course they're going to sustain enough more injuries. So it does, I believe that he slipped and fell trying to chase her. Wouldn't it be some shit if it come to find out that even though they had the scuffle on the inside, the dog bit him, whatever may have happened, it wouldn't be some crazy shit if he just slipped and fell because he was drunk? Wouldn't that be crazy? That would be a crazy thing. But no, I was just sitting over here, chilling, drinking my coffee. When more information comes out, I guess we'll get more. That's why I kind of like getting all the information at one time when I talk about some of these cases, if that makes sense. I like waiting until it's almost close to where they are doing deliberation because I can go over the timelines. I basically get a full breakdown of the entire trial from start to finish. And then I like to go over expert testimony. I like to go through both the defense and the prosecution at the same time and compare them at the same time. That's something that I like to do with the you know, with the cases. I like to wait until they're closer to deliberation. Here's my thing: in order to break a tail light, you absolutely have to do a lot of, depending on the car. You actually have to hit it pretty hard to break a tail light. And but here's also the possibility: what if somebody had a baseball bat and hit the tail light? Because she, even to hit a body, you're not gonna. It takes a lot of force to break a tail light. They're made out of hard plastic, in a lot of times. Yeah, you don't break the taillights that easy. Even hitting somebody, it's more like if you break your taillights. Mostly, most people that I know that have busted out their taillight, is because they backed in one of those like concrete things, and it was enough to force to bust the taillight, or somebody hit that shit with a baseball bat real hard. Like, it takes quite a bit of force to break a tail light, because a lot of people don't know they're made out of something. You know what I'm saying? They're made out of heavy materials. They're made out of hard plastic. Hey, D Ham Show. Woo-wee, what did I done miss this morning, D Ham? I heard something about YTC had to take her video down or something. Did YTC have to take down her video this morning? See, I was going to look for her video, and I sometimes watch her in the morning before I go live if nobody else is live, and I didn't see her live. What is she like? I heard something about something, but I don't know. And then I'm sitting over here looking. That 88 still mad at Tracy because of Sean G. Like, what had happened? And then I'm sitting over here looking, and I don't know what's going on, and with that situation. I see I missed something already this morning. I see I missed something already, D-Ham. I know something happened on YTC's, and I know that her video went down. Oh, Nest got flagged? Damn. Shit. Why are people playing flagging wars in the beef sector? That is a bonus, TT. That is a bonus. So watch the larger you know. Okay. I'll keep an eye out for that, because I wanna get a analysis and a breakdown of it, and all that stuff. I'm still waiting on. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, there's some cases I'm gonna be covering heavy when they come up. Jarvis Butts case, I'm waiting on that one. For the Naziah Harris case, when that one comes up to be prosecuted, oh yes, best believe I'm covering that one start to finish, because I hope that man rots in hell. I'm going to be covering the Madeline Soto when that goes to trial case, and there's a few more. That's true, D-Ham. We do try to, me and you, we be in the beef sector, but we try to mind our business. Mind the business that pays this child. We just try to say hey to everybody. And see, that's the point that I like, Twisted. When it comes to a situation that I'm on the fence about, I'm extremely fair. The only time that I say that I would be biased, and it would be hard for me to be a juror for those trials, is when it involves a child. When it involves a child, and I know the person's guilty, they have a previous history and all this other stuff, I get really angry during those trials. I will say you will see a different side of me, because as a mother, I think all children should be protected. I also believe that a lot of these, a lot of these sectors and YouTubes, people use children against each other people or say nasty things about someone's kid because they're pissed about a situation between adults. And I think kids should always be off limits. I was watching a clip the other day from Miss Casey Lips about this person. I don't know the person. I don't know their beefs or what the two people got going on. So I'm not passing judgment, you know what I'm saying, on said person because obviously I don't know them and I don't know what the beef is. But to call a child the R word and to say that you'll be there to interview their rapist or whatnot, right? To even fix your mouth to say something about kids, it's wrong. I don't care. I don't care what your beef is. Why not keep it on that person, right? Why not say, you know what? If it happens to you, I'm gonna be there every step of the way, and I'm gonna do this, blah blah blah. I hope that this happened to you, blah 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 blah. Keep it on the adult, you know. Keep it on the adult. I don't understand that. Oh snap! Miss Tracy and 88 are into it. So basically, they're saying that the they're saying that 88 said a lot of trigger words, and that's why Ness got flagged. But I'm not sure. It could have been a number of reasons. But there are certain words that you cannot allow. Well, damn, that's gonna be some messed up shit right there. They gonna be having a back and forth. Lord Jesus. Oh, somebody uh in 88's chat that Ness was talking about 88's kids or something, and then they were saying it in her chat that CPS that Ness got a CPS record, so they can't talk about nobody kids. Oh Lord, oh Jesus, it's gonna get rough, y'all. It's gonna get rough. It's gonna get rough, D Ham in the beef sector. They's fixing to be a Queen 88 versus Ness versus Tracy versus she done throw Misunderstood's name in it. Oh Lord, baby Jesus. Oh Lord, baby Jesus. I'm gonna need Jesus and holy water. I'm the same way, D him. I love everybody. I don't try to get in that mess. I ain't in the beefs. I'm cool with everybody, even with two people fighting. I'm cool with both of them. Like the other day, I was over there chilling, at Mika's house because she did a live, and her and Miss Sherika was into. I was like, I don't like it when y'all fight. Quit fighting. Like I know that Jay Dizzle and Mika's had their thing, and I'm staying out of it because I like both of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't insert myself or try to into beefs and stuff because if I like both parties, you know what I mean? And that happens in a lot. I don't. I'm gonna say there's probably gonna be some rough stuff on the beef sector streets today if y'all in the beef sectors. Now in the mob tube genre, I ain't things ain't too terrible right now. I don't see a lot of crazy mess happening unless I miss something. Because I do miss things, y'all, especially with all this going on with my son. I've been missing a lot of the beefs and what's been going on with who and who's been fighting with who and all that stuff. So sometimes I miss stuff, when it comes to that. Um So I missed some of that stuff. I heard that I didn't watch it, but I heard that Angel Gotti's shows was absolutely not private the other day. I don't know how. I didn't watch it, so I don't know. I I don't go around watching things that don't interest me. Sorry. I hear about it from other people. That's the way if it's good, somebody's gonna clip it. That's all I gotta say. If it's real good and there's a good beef going, then somebody's gonna clip it. And that goes for really pretty much all sectors of YouTube, if you think about it. If something real good and juicy happens on somebody's panel, right? Or and something goes on, somebody gonna clip that shit. Yeah. Now I see Ness has her live back up from 10 hours ago. So maybe it just got knocked down for a little while. Maybe she had to edit it or something. Unless there was another live I don't know about. That's what I'm saying. I stay in my lane, D-Ham. I'm the same way. Mm-hmm. I stay in my little area and I chill in my little corner and I don't bother nobody and I don't try to bother nobody. Now I do jump up and sing happy birthdays to folks and try to support as many people as I can, as much as I can, knowing I'm only one human, but I try, and I know you do the same, D-Ham. That's why we chill like that. We like brother and sister. Because we just be trying to support. We just try to be nice, We don't get in a mess, child. But I feel like there's going to be some blow up over this situation. It's going to get crazy, child. Everybody and their mama going to be talking about it. Oh, no, you good, D-Ham. You good. But yeah, with the Karen Reed shit, I want to hear more from more expert testimony. See what's, if they don't have a good smoking gun, there is reasonable doubt in that situation because you can't say it specifically how, he passed away and whatnot, in my opinion. And now with the Diddy situation, I'm agreeing with Watcher and in my thought process that there is a bigger fish to fry there, that Diddy's not the only one that they're wanting to go after. I think he's the catalyst. I think he's the face of it. But I believe they're trying to go after somebody bigger, somebody badder. Somebody that knows more about the situation, somebody that was really, everybody thinks Diddy was the handler, but I don't think Diddy was the full handler, if that makes sense. I think there's people behind the scenes that was setting this shit up more than he was. Like they were, like if you think about it, like they were saying, you're going to go do this with this person and do this, this, and this, right? We need to set this up right quick. And he was like, all right, I got the girls, you got the blah, let's set this up. There's other people that are going to go down because it's now. I heard that supposedly a new tape or a recording came out with Meek Mill and Will Smith, supposedly, with the freak off shit. That's what I heard. I heard there were some new recordings that came out. Let me see if I can find that. And now we all heard that one recording. Let me see if I can find like something right quick. Hold on. Let me make this big right quick. Can you make it larger? Can you go full screen with this? Let me see if this has got the recording because I'm looking for that recording. Okay, we're gonna listen to this video right quick that I just found on we're gonna watch this thing right here. Oh yeah, there we go. That's how you make a big screen. Alright. Let me go ahead and do this right quick. We're gonna share screen right quick. This is about the Diddy situation, y'all. This is about the Diddy. You heard Obama came up in testimony? Shit, girl, I'd freak, man. Let's go ahead and watch this right quick. Hold on, let me make this larger. All right, let me make sure I make myself little, so y'all can see better. We gonna hear this. We gonna hear this, y'all. Make sure the volume turned all the way up. All right.
Started as a disturbing yet narrow case focused on her testimony has now spiraled into something no one saw coming. This isn't tabloid fuel anymore. We're talking federal courtroom shifts, leaked summaries from insiders, silent audio playbacks, and an avalanche of resurfaced clips that are basically dragging half of Hollywood into the mud. The internet's working overtime, the streets are buzzing, and the people involved, yeah, they're probably sweating harder than they ever have. So here's what's just happened. After weeks of the prosecution laying out Cassie's story, the alleged abuse, the infamous freak-offs, and Diddy's controlling behavior, things took a sharp turn. According to courtroom spectators and online leaks, prosecutors have moved beyond Cassie. The focus has now zoomed in on audio recordings, and not just any tapes. These are supposedly graphic, explicit tapes involving Diddy, Will Smith, and Meek Mill. Yeah, this is not Twitter hearsay anymore. This is reportedly being played in open court. It all started when video footage from a hotel lobby was shown a few days ago. No audio, just visuals. Everyone assumed that was as far as it would go. But now insiders are saying that audio was played behind closed doors and it left the entire room frozen. No phones allowed, no journalists recording, just complete silence. One source described the clip as male-on-male graphic and undeniable, the kind of silence that doesn't just happen unless what's being heard is serious. And if that wasn't enough to shock the room, it gets deeper. After this moment, new witnesses were announced, and they're not randos looking for clout. These are ex-Bad Boy artists, former staff, people who worked under Diddy, toured with him, stayed at his party. These are people who've seen things from the inside. People who might have stayed quiet for years but are now ready to speak up under legal protection. One of those voices, Dawn Richards. You might remember her from Danity Kane, one of Diddy's former girl groups. She testified recently and later was spotted looking visibly frustrated and drained, caught on paparazzi cam while leaving court. Insiders say her testimony backed Cassie's story. She straight up admitted that Diddy did horrible things. That's not gossip. That's court transcript material. And then there's Diddy's daughter. If you needed a moment that really hit home how bad things are getting, it was her walking out of that courtroom. No smugness, no attitude, just blank, dead silent, pale and shaken. Paparazzi didn't even try to yell out questions. She didn't even look up. Now, insiders claim her reaction happened right after the audio was played, which just adds to the intensity of what might have been heard inside. The implications here go far beyond legal trouble. This is now about reputation, family legacy, and a network of secrets involving some of the most powerful people in entertainment. Will Smith's name being dropped wasn't just a throwaway. It's reportedly tied to the audio, and the internet, of course, wasted no time. Old clips, side-eye interviews, podcast moments, everything about Will and Diddy's past interactions started resurfacing. One interview that exploded again online, comedian Lunel casually saying Diddy and Will were clapping each other's cheeks. She said it so casually, most people didn't even catch it the first time around. This time, everyone caught it, and the internet ran with it. But then came the deeper rabbit hole. Fans started revisiting clips of Will with Jaden Smith, the affectionate kisses, the overly playful energy. Once seen as a quirky dad, now it was being rewatched through a completely different lens. People were saying it didn't feel right. The tone shifted. And then came the nuclear moment. Brother Bilal, Will Smith's former assistant, dropped his own set of allegations that made everything even harder to ignore. He claimed to have personally seen Will engaging in explicit acts, graphically describing a moment where Will allegedly played with another man's junk and tried to finger his right. That wasn't even the most shocking part. Bilal went on to say he once walked in on Dwayne Martin and Will, saying Dwayne was bending Will over a couch like a yoga instructor. His words, not mine. So after Brother Bilal lit the fuse with that wild Dwayne Martin claim, the internet basically turned into a CSI unit. Fans weren't waiting around for media confirmation. They started pulling clips, photos, old interviews, every moment where Diddy and Will were caught together at events, hugging, laughing, posted up like close friends. And then Will came out and tried to shut it all down with a hard denial. His quote, "I ain't nowhere near that, man. I did none of that stupid shit. So whenever y'all hear it, if somebody say that, it's a damn lie." Except that made it worse. The second Will said that, people flooded Twitter and Reddit with photo receipts of him and Diddy being, well, exactly near each other. Parties, clubs, award shows, chill hangouts. There's even a clip of them toasting champagne together like old friends. So now people weren't just suspicious, they felt lied to. And this is where Meek Mill enters the frame. His name got dropped during the courtroom playback of those alleged freak-off tapes too. Once that happened, it was chaos. Unlike Will, who at least tried to deny things calmly, Meek went into full meltdown mode. Dude was tweeting nonstop. Defensive post after defensive post. And honestly, the more he tweeted, the more people were convinced something was up. Thing is, Meek's name has popped up alongside Diddy's for years. Fans always joked about their dynamic, calling Meek stuff like Diddy's intern, pocket puppet, and even darker things I won't repeat here. At the time, people thought it was just trolling. But now, those jokes are being dug up and reframed like old puzzle pieces finally clicking into place. And yeah, the internet pulled out receipts on Meek too. One viral video showed him during a party with billionaire Michael Rubin, hopping around like a kid who just lost a bet. People started pointing out how uncomfortable it looked. Like he was trying to laugh it off, but the energy wasn't right. The voice in the background, laughing, taunting him. Then comes another clip, Diddy throwing Meek a birthday party. Seems normal, until you realize it's filled with shirtless dudes by the pool and Diddy calling Meek daddy on camera. Proud of you. I love you. I appreciate life. Daddy. Yeah, the internet didn't let that one slide. Every time Meek posted something trying to act hard, fans just threw that clip right back at him. Daddy became a meme overnight, and when he went on a rant saying, "I'm not fruity, stop playing with me," the replies were just flooded with screenshots, old tweets, and videos of him looking real cozy with Diddy. But what really hit people hard was the mystery of the actual audio. So far, none of it has leaked. No video, no public playback, just whispers from insiders and courtroom summaries. And that's what makes it worse. Everyone's hearing how wild it is, but no one outside that courtroom has actually heard it. One insider described it as a man being pounded while Diddy laughed in the background. That's the level we're talking about here. There was even a short clip floating around where someone claimed they had a recording of Meek and Diddy making love. Now, whether that was real or just clout chasing is up for debate, but the buzz around it is undeniable. And the fact that the government hasn't released anything is making people even more suspicious. Because here's the thing, in the US, you can't normally just hide evidence in a criminal trial unless it's for a damn good reason. Journalists have already started asking tough questions. If this evidence is so serious, why is it locked away? Why can't the public hear what's being used to possibly convict someone? If we're trying someone in court, transparency matters. Some argue it's about protecting the identities or dignity of the people involved. Others say it's because the audio is just too explosive, too many famous names, too much power behind the scenes. If this stuff actually leaks, it might not just ruin reputations, it could take down careers, destroy deals, spark lawsuits, and even drag in people who haven't been named yet. And that's the scariest part. If Diddy, Will, and Meek are only the tip of the iceberg, who else is tangled up in all this? As wild as everything sounds, the most disturbing part isn't even the celebrity name drops. It's the silence. We live in an age where everything leaks. iCloud hacks, court documents, even courtroom audio. It always finds its way out. But this time, Not a single second of those alleged Diddy tapes has hit the internet. Not a clip, not a whisper of audio, not even a still image. That silence is deafening. It's got people asking one thing: who's protecting this? And that question has opened up a whole new rabbit hole. Because let's be honest, this trial stopped being about just Diddy and Cassie weeks ago. This thing is unearthing a network, something deeper, culture behind closed doors that might have been happening for years, and no one had the guts or the power to expose it. The only reason it's coming out now is because of the federal pressure and because the survivors and insiders finally feel safe enough to talk. We're seeing a full unraveling of someone who's been in the spotlight for decades, someone who used to be untouchable. Diddy was more than just a music mogul. He was woven into the fabric of hip hop, TV, fashion, and culture. He had that bad boy for life energy, the lavish parties, the vote or die campaign, the billionaire friends. But now, all of that is crumbling in real time. What's wild is how many people are going back and saying we should have seen this coming, because in hindsight, the red flags were always there. From his weird obsession with control over artists to those strange interviews where he says stuff like pause after nearly every sentence, like he's half joking, half hiding, or how nearly every artist that left Bad Boy seemed damaged or disappeared. Motel Loon, Day 26, Danity Kane. Aubrey O'Day has been trying to blow the whistle for years, and nobody listened, but the courtroom isn't ignoring it now. And the Don Richards testimony added weight to the idea that Diddy wasn't just problematic, he was allegedly predatory. She confirmed that Cassie wasn't lying, that things did happen, and that type of corroboration in court, that's lethal. And the emotional fallout, it's not just hitting Diddy. Will Smith's already fragile reputation ever since the Oscar slap is now on even shakier ground. People who stood by him during that mess are now questioning his character even more. Because if these audio tapes are real, and if he's on them, it won't just be a PR crisis. It could be career ending. As for Meek Mill, the internet's already treating him like he's cooked. He hasn't been charged with anything. But the way he's reacting, the over defensiveness, the y'all trying to ruin me posts, it just adds to the suspicion. And that's the thing about the court of public opinion. Once your name is tied to something this dirty, it doesn't matter if you're legally clean. You've already lost the perception game. And yet, nobody from the government is stepping forward to explain the silence. There's no statement saying the tapes are being reviewed or why they're not being released, which only fuels the idea that these tapes are too hot to touch. Maybe the people on them are too famous. Maybe they're part of deals we don't even know about. Or maybe the government itself is walking a political tightrope with this case, trying not to blow it open too fast. So now we're left in this strange limbo. The court keeps moving, the internet keeps digging, and the people allegedly involved keep walking around like nothing's happening. But that won't last forever. This isn't something that's going to stay buried, because the internet doesn't forget, it doesn't forgive. And when people feel like the truth is being hidden from them, they dig harder. If these tapes ever leak, it could shake the entire foundation of Hollywood's elite circles. Not just because of what Diddy allegedly did, but because of who else was in the room. The velvet curtain is being pulled back, and what's behind it might be darker than anyone expected.
So, supposedly, Miss Danny, during court the other day, there was some tapes. There were some tapes that were released, and in those tapes, it names Will Smith and Meek Mill, and it was a freak off tape, and it was clapping cheeks. Let's say it that way. They're saying that the courts are being very hush hush on certain things. Good morning, Miss Danny. Also, good morning, Miss Catherine, and good morning, my beautiful Georgia girl. But they're also saying there's they're talking about the rumors of Hollywood that's always went around about Diddy, about the people involved in the freak offs, the people who were getting their cheeks clapped by different people. And they're saying that there's basically going to be a huge influx of people getting exposed for their stuff, right? and the courts aren't releasing anything. They're not allowing anything, and there's no like recordings out there from the they always say there's always leaks from the courtroom. There's been no leaks. You get what I'm saying? But they're saying that there was they're saying that there was some video showed, I think it was yesterday or so. But I'm not sure. But they're saying they're being real hush hush about things. Now I'll see if she says it again where in the very beginning of this tape, if she says because they were talking about, it says according to courtroom spectators and online leaks, prosecutors have moved beyond Cassie. These are supposedly graphic and explicit tapes involving Diddy. I'm trying to see Will Smith and Meek Mill. I'm trying to see did they say who leaked or because it's saying, all it says is the focus now is zoomed in on audio recordings, that they're showing different audio recordings. Well, I just did a simple search. One of them I found on Facebook. And then this one right here, it says Meek Mill speaks up during Diddy trial to claim he only saw coke vibes at the Diddy parties he attended. Meek Mill reveals craziest thing he saw at Diddy's parties. It's just even let's see, the OFC.org is hold on, somebody wait, is this the audio recording? Let's see if they actually have it. The audio, according to the medium, is inauthentic and untrue because it has been altered due to nature of it. So the in court ruling, yeah, no, nobody actually has the audio because I'm trying to find the damn audio. Damn it. But there's that's blowed up in the media right now. And it said it was played in court. Here's also another one. Another video by Privy Paparazzi saying that it was played in court. I don't know. I will say this. Everybody's spreading it right now, Miss Danny. Until I see or hear the audio myself, I'm not going to say, oh, this is a smoking gun. You know what I'm saying? This is something that supposedly somebody has leaked from court and said that it happened in court. Obviously, we can only go by what what we're being told because they are not allowing cameras within the courthouse, and they're not allowing phones and all these other things. So we have to go by transcripts. We have to go by what people are saying, which kind of sucks because I don't like that because people can lie. You know what I'm saying? Miss Danny, people can. I'm going to play this right quick just to show.
Recording of Meek and Diddy
making love.
Ew. I don't know if it was love.
Okay, you have it. Let's hear it.
They say every trial has a turning point, a moment where the narrative flips, and everyone watching realizes they had no idea how deep it actually goes. That moment just hit the courtroom where Diddy is facing a string of disturbing accusations. Up until now, all eyes were on Cassie and the infamous freak-offs. But this past week, things took a hard left. The courtroom, once focused on violence and abuse allegations, suddenly veered into a realm no one saw coming: graphic, intimate, and dangerously explosive. It started with whispers, a leaked comment here, a source note there. Then, boom, reports started surfacing that audio recordings had entered the courtroom. Not just any recordings. We're talking alleged audio of Diddy being intimate with other men. Not whispered rumors, not Twitter threads. Actual recordings reportedly played behind closed doors with no journalists allowed to capture a single second. Phones were confiscated. Silence filled the room. But inside that silence, everything changed. Word got out quickly that the audio included Diddy with Meek Mill and possibly even Will Smith. Yes, that Will Smith. At first, people thought it was gossip, a recycled internet fantasy. But when multiple courtroom insiders confirmed that the evidence had indeed been presented to the court, the narrative took on a whole new weight. One of the first moments that sent shockwaves online was a snippet described by someone claiming to be present. According to them, the recording wasn't just audio of two men, it was a full-blown, intimate, and graphic moment. The type of audio that leaves a room breathless, not because it's sexual, but because of who's involved. If the descriptions are to be believed, Meek's voice can allegedly be heard saying, "Yeah, daddy," while what sounded like physical struggle or moaning occurred in the background. The words were chilling. The reactions even more so. And if you're wondering if this is just another baseless smear campaign, consider this: prosecutors reportedly have more than one recording. The first audio tape was just the tip of the iceberg. They are also investigating more tapes that potentially involve other celebrities who are part of Diddy's private world. Some of them we now know weren't women. One source claimed they were so shocked by what they heard, they looked around the room and saw even seasoned journalists and legal experts visibly uncomfortable. These weren't playful jokes or vague accusations. These were sounds that told a full story. Sounds that, according to insiders, lined up with earlier witness accounts about what went on during those infamous private freak-off sessions Diddy was allegedly known for hosting. The moment this audio hit the courtroom, it wasn't just about Diddy anymore. It became about the company he kept, about the men he partied with, performed with, mentored, and allegedly manipulated. That's when Will Smith's name started circulating more aggressively, and that's when the internet lost its mind. People instantly began digging. Old interviews, podcast clips, photos, videos. Anything that might prove this wasn't just a shock headline, but something that's been in plain sight all along. One of the first bombshells to resurface was from comedian Lonel, who in an older interview casually said that Diddy and Will were involved with each other. It was such a casual moment that most people ignored it back then. But now, it feels like a breadcrumb from the past.
Also, her name is Lunel. Lunel. That is the comedian's name. But no, they're saying that people who were in the courtroom, that were actually there, are saying that these tapes do exist. Now, we've heard one of them. I don't know how true it is. I think a lot of people heard the audio leak. Y'all remember that audio leak where we heard that, where it sounded like, and then you heard some like struggle and shit, and that one dude who was supposedly a bodyguard recorded it. I don't know if y'all remember that tape, but I remember when that tape come out, and people were like, "What?" I believe that's the tape that people talk about, but they're claiming that it was played in open court. Now, but I haven't seen the transcripts reflect that, so Miss Danny's right on that. This could just be, alleged, right? And until I see that the court transcripts actually say that, audio recordings were played, even if they don't like repeat what was on the tapes, they're still supposed to, in the transcripts, say audio was played. You get what I'm saying? Like audio was played for court, or tape was played, or something in the transcript. I don't know how true this is, so I can only say alleged, right? But they're saying that a lot of people who are actually in the courtroom are saying this really did happen. It really was played, and a lot of people were super uncomfortable. Like his daughter who was in court, and a lot of people who were in that courtroom were super uncomfortable hearing the tapes. Now I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, without definite proof, we can't say, whatnot. We can only guesstimate with what is being leaked from people who are inside the courtrooms right now, what transcripts we can get a hold of, and things like that. So what I'm going to try to do right now is I'm going to look up Diddy trial transcript audio played to see if we can find the let's just well, that's not going to show anything. Let me look transcript. Let's look up just that. Let's look up Diddy trial transcript. So we can look up the we know about Casey's transcripts, okay? Let's look here. Actually, this right here is I believe when this situation happened with the Pow Pow. This isn't from this is the defendant was recently and widely known on numerous occasions. I'm sitting here looking at a legal document, and I don't know what case this was. Y'all give me a minute, because we may be looking at an old case here. So this is United States of America versus Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love. And this is from New York, Southern District of New York, count 1, racketeering conspiracy. The grand jury charges. I believe somebody did this because they tried to make it look legal right here, but here's the thing: when you wait, no, this actually has the 4 person's name on it and the United States Attorney's signature. So this may be where the charges came from. Y'all want to look at that? The actual, I just found the racketeering court documents here. Okay, so y'all want to read the actual court? Oh, and say hey to Lunel if you talk to her, Rico. Tell her we love her. Let me share this right quick. Oh, I just pressed stop share, y'all. I'm sorry. Here's my question. And I agree with you, Mr. Buster. Maybe it is. How you doing, Mr. Buster? Good morning. Good morning. I will say, Miss Danny, I also like, until more information comes out, you obviously with a lot of things can't believe everything you hear or see, because we don't have cameras in the courtroom. We can't watch this trial like we did the YSL trial or any of the other ones. So there's going to be probably a lot of misinformation that comes out. So that's why you also have to say allegedly on a lot of this stuff, and Georgia girl, if you don't know, Armand Wiggins actually used to be down here in the beef sector with us. We've known him since before he blew up. Yeah, we've known Armand since before he blew up. Back when he had a small channel. A lot of us have known some of these bigger time, like Tasha K. She was down here with us before she blew up. I remember when Tasha K didn't have what she has now in subscribers and things like that. We were talking about this the other day when the beef sector first started out, before you know, a lot of this stuff and a lot of these people blew up, they were down here with us, and we remember them, and you know, being down here in the mess and in the drama. But yeah, so with this situation, I'm not 100% on obviously the audios being real until I read the you know, until I see it in transcripts or something like that. You know, we have a trial update here from, I don't know why it's so little. This is from the Washington Post. Ex-assistant psychologist and special agent testify in Sean Combs's case. Let's see, when was this done? This was done 1 minute ago. So we're fixing to look at what's the actual news is saying. Let's go to share screen. We're going to go to the actual news sources because, you know, the Washington Post here. Ex-assistant psychologist and special agent testify in Sean Combs case. The government is working through its list of witnesses in the second week of testimony as Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial in New York. Special agent Gerard Gannon continued his testimony Wednesday, describing finding gun components, platform heels, and a lot of baby oil when the Department of Homeland Security raided Combs' mansion in Miami last year. A forensic psychologist also testified that domestic abuse victims often love their partners, abuse drugs, and repress memories. Testimony that recalls Cassandra Cassie Ventura's account of her 11-year relationship with Combs. Thursday, we'll see more testimony from a former assistant of Combs, who Ventura said quit after he saw his boss abuse her. Prosecutors also hope to call 5 new witnesses, including Scott Kid Cudi Misakuda, and a rapper who briefly dated Ventura while she was involved with Combs. Makudo's car exploded after a jealous Combs threatened to blow it up. According to Ventura's mutual jealousy, violence, and drug abuse. The government said it plans to call 5 new witnesses Thursday once George Kaplan's testimony is over. This group includes Scott Medusko, also known as Kid Cudi, and a male hotel employee. Prosecutors said that questioning will be relatively short for all their witnesses and could even end before 3 p.m. Thursday. If that's the case, the government said it would like to end the day early and plan travel for the next week's witnesses. Prosecutors told Judge Arun Subramanian they believe they are ahead of schedule in presenting the case against Combs. Judge Arun Subramanian has excused the jury for the day after prosecutors said they would need another half hour to wrap up questioning of George Kaplan. Kaplan will continue to testify Thursday. Kid Cudi, whose legal name is Scott Medusa, is also expected to be called. As in typical, the lawyers and judges have remained in the courtroom for some end-of-day discussion. During the hotel stage, George Kaplan would courier food, clothes, and drugs that his boss, Sean Combs, asked for. Kaplan testified he mentioned a bag of tons of different medications, including Advil, Tylenol, Wellbutrin, ketamine. I'm sure there were other things, Kaplan said, but added he didn't go through the prescription items. Kaplan also said he picked up MDMA for Combs. Another one of George Kaplan's duties as Sean Combs' assistant was to set up hotel rooms. Kaplan testified he would typically get a few hours' notice from Combs himself or his chief of staff, Kristen Corman. He said he set up rooms in Los Angeles, Miami, and New York, stocking them with candles, Astroglide, and baby oil. Combs' hotel rooms were booked under the alias Frank Black, Kaplan said, which was a play on the late rapper's Notorious B.I.G.'s nickname, Frank White. Kaplan told the jury, "My understanding was that he would have guest or female partners in the room." George Kaplan said he worked 80 to 100 hours a week as Sean Combs' assistant. His days would typically begin around 9 a.m. when he made sure Combs' chef was ready to make breakfast and ended anywhere between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Kaplan said his duties included carrying Combs' bags, making sure they contained everything he might need. He testified these necessities could include an iPad, snacks, or drugs. He said Combs threatened to fire him about once a month. The first time was when he sent on an errand to get a gallon of water in the BPA-free bottle and finding none at Whole Foods, instead brought back 2 half-gallon bottles, BPA-free. George Kaplan was called to the stand, and though it is unclear how much testimony we'll get for him before the day ends, he was sworn in 20 minutes before 3 p.m. When the judge, Aaron Summerlin, has been dismissed the jury this week. Kaplan is a former assistant to Sean Combs who quit after seeing Combs physically abuse Cassie Ventura, according to Ventura's earlier testimony. The judge has granted Kaplan immunity for his testimony, and it is not clear whether he will speak about, but we know Combs' lawyers want to ask him about a conversation he had with Ventura in which he allegedly advised her on where she could find marijuana. So they are doing, if you look right here, play-by-plays, because that's the most that we can get, right? So the most we can get is play-by-play. So what you can do is I'm going to copy and paste, if you're wanting to keep up with this, into the thing. You can keep an eye on this. They're updating this minute by minute, right? So right now, the last thing we have is, Special Agent Gerard Gannon continued his testimony from the Department of Homeland Security, of what they saw when they raided the compounds or whatnot. So, that right there is a breakdown. That's the closest thing we have right now. But it doesn't say anything about any audio being played. So, that could be, I will say, in my opinion, hey, Decapitator of Trolls, hey, Mr. Chris. I will say that a lot of rumors have went around about the situation, but I do believe that there will be way more people involved when this is over with. I believe there's going to be some people brought up that we don't even, it's going to be very telling. Here's my question for those who have been watching the Diddy trial. Who do you think is going to be brought up? Do you have a guesstimation or a thought process of who you think is going to be brought in as witness testimony? Do you have any conspiracies? Because at this point, anything that's not proven by court documentation is a conspiracy, correct? Or a theory or a thought process. Do y'all have any thought process of who you think might be brought up in the Diddy trial? Myself, I think there's going to be some celebrities coming up that nobody suspects, and it's going to be your mouth's going to drop, because I think it's going to be people. There's going to be some people you suspect, and they're going to be there. They're going to be on the stand. I believe more people from Danity Kane. Well, I believe that, here's the thing. If you know anything about the Danity Kane, what happened with them, one of the ladies, which is Aubrey O'Day, she has been very vocal. She never re-signed with Diddy and never signed the NDA. That is why she's able to talk freely. The other girls from Danity Kane actually re-signed with Diddy and signed NDAs. That's how he was keeping them on the payroll, even though they weren't making music, they wasn't touring, none of that stuff, to keep them silent. He was paying for silence. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shaker, shaker, shaker. But the rumor of the of the clapping cheeks thing has been around for a while. That specific audio that they're talking about was supposedly leaked by a bodyguard back in like quite a few years ago. Actually, so that's why until I see it in the court transcript, right, in the court transcript or on a news site, I'm not as inclined to believe it was played in open court yet. I'm not saying that it won't be, but it also has to be. Here's the thing: for an audio tape to be played, right, for that situation to be exposed in open court, it can't just be a he say, she say, and it can't be, it has to be proven that he's actually in the tape. It has to be proven that those people are actually in the tape before they'll play it. Because then that's going to be hearsay. And that would get thrown out of court. Very quickly, that would get thrown out of court. Hey, TNW Logger, what's up? So I'm with Miss Danny on that fact. That would have to be something that they would have to have more than just audio. And they would have to know for a fact that Diddy himself is on the tape, that it actually has a standing and a reason to be played, right? Playing the freak off tapes necessarily aren't really proving anything, but that they had freak offs. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be more so of, in order for it to prove the case, it would have to be like you heard abuse going on in it, someone saying no, talking about how much payment they were getting, to prove the case kind of situation, not just for shock value, right? But it would have to be something to prove a situation as evidence, right? Hey, Miss Raditha. Hey, Joe Hef, I suppose. How you doing this morning? I'm sitting there drinking my coffee. We were just talking about the Diddy case per se and all the rumors that are swirling around about it. And in my opinion, until something is proven without a shadow of a doubt, you have to say allegedly on some of those things, because yes, it romanticizes and or not romanticizes per se, but like the word I'm looking for, over exaggerates or makes it seem more scandalous. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is proven anything, right? I want to see some more things come out that, I think they are and possibly are bigger fish to fry in this case. More so, I don't believe Diddy's the main man they're necessarily fully going after. I believe there's going to be others. And I believe there was somebody over Diddy and Diddy had a handler, if that makes sense. Somebody was behind the scenes telling him to set these things up, and there could be possible more people who made more money off this, because technically with RICO charges and racketeering, right, there's money exchanges going on. So there's a possibility there's a person behind the scenes that was receiving the money from Diddy in big lump sums, or he was receiving money from someone in big lump sums, to whether they were recording these tapes and sending them to a person, so on and so forth. But there's more than meets the eye, I believe, to this case, And I believe it will all come out in the wash as time goes on. Now, there's a possibility that I could be wrong. Yes, there's always that possibility, right? This is a theory, not proven. We can all have theories. We can all have conspiracies. We can all have our own thought processes, right, on things. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're true. Like when I was talking about a case, and my theory actually did come out to be true one time. I had a theory about the case, and eventually the testimony did come out that my theory was correct on that one. And then there was another theory on another case I was completely wrong about, right? So we can use our brains to try to come to logical conclusions and all this other stuff. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to come out in the wash, right? Here's my question for anybody that's still in the audience. How many of you do you think that Diddy is definitely going to be found guilty? How many people are on the fence about this situation to where you think maybe he'll be able to either pay his way out of it, or they are going to be just enough doubt to where he only gets one charge or the other? And how many of you think that he's going to get off scot-free? Because they always have that saying that, you know, it's like the song. There's a song that actually speaks about this in a way. When you're a celebrity, it's adios reality. You can blame it on the fame just because you're on TV. I don't know if y'all have heard that, but a lot of a lot of people say that celebrities get away with things because of money and different things. I myself think the prostitution charge will stick. That one's a no-brainer. That is going to stick. They have proof of prostitution against state lines and all that stuff, right? The racketeering, if they have, which they have not shown that I know of, unless I missed it, they have not shown yet. The prosecution hasn't. The Bad Boy records. Now, here's the thing. What I was saying earlier about Diddy paying people off using Bad Boy, that can prove racketeering. That can prove the money stuff, right? That can prove it, because Bad Boy is who is in the paperwork, right? Bad Boy Entertainment, and whatnot. And technically in the paperwork says the Combs Enterprise or the Enterprise. I'm going to read y'all the actual sealed indictment right quick. I guess somebody leaked it. I'm not sure. Y'all can tell me if y'all believe this is true and factual. I will say it does look like it when you scroll down. Hey, baby shark, how you feeling this morning? But it's up to y'all to choose this. It does look like, it's United States of District Court, Southern District of New York, United States of America versus Sean Combs. For decades, Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Diddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Diddy, a.k.a. PD, a.k.a. Love, the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Sean Combs, the defendant, operated his business headquarters at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global Collective, collectively the Combs Business. Corporate entities in the Combs Business include among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, engaged in persistent and pervasive patterns of abuse towards women and other individuals. The abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. At times, Combs and others acting at his direction made arrangements for women and commercial sex workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. Physical abuse by Combs, the defendant, was recurrent and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. These assaults were at many times witnessed by others, including one instance at the Los Angeles Hotel in on or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, where Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. Combs' violence was also not limited to these women. It extended to his employees, witnesses to his abuse, and others. Sean Combs, the defendants, used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his abuse and commercial sex. These employees, including security staff, household staff, personal assistants, high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates, acted as Combs' intermediaries, and their conduct was... Hold on just a minute, y'all. I think somebody's knocking on my door. Y'all, that wasn't nobody knocking on the door. I think that was like thunder or something. Anyway, let's get back to reading here. Cover up his abuse and commercial sex. Those employees included security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates acted as Combs' intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs' control of the Combs businesses. Let me make sure this is bigger so y'all can read. I just realized hopefully y'all can see that. From at least in or about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment, the defendant and others known and unknown were members and associates of the criminal organization, the Combs Enterprise, or the Enterprise. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The Combs Enterprise include its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise, as defined by Title 18 United States Code, Section 1961-4. This is a group of individuals associated in fact, although not legal entity. The Combs Enterprise consisted the defendant entities with the Combs business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprise, Combs Global, individual is employed by the associated with the Combs business, and IV, others known and unknown. The Combs Enterprise constituted on and ongoing organizations whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the Combs Enterprise. The Combs Enterprise was engaged in and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Combs Enterprise operated in the South District of New York and elsewhere. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, was the leader of Combs Enterprise. Sean Combs, the defendant, and others known and unknown participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs Enterprise affairs. These individuals include certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs security staff, household staff, personal assistants, high-ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. Purposes of Combs Enterprise. The purpose of Combs Enterprise include the following. A. Operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. B. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs, the defendant, as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry. C. Enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including its leader, Combs, and in particular those who demonstrated loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. D. Preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of Combs Enterprise, including the power of its leader, Combs, through violence, use of firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs, sexual gratifications, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers. F. Enabling Combs and other members and associates of the Combs Enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including sexual violence, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Securing absolute loyalty from members of the Combs Enterprise, including through acts of violence and threats. And H. Protecting the Combs Enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, and threats of retaliation against individuals who witnessed the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. Means and methods of the enterprise. Among the means and methods by which Sean Combs, the defendant, and other members and associates of the Combs Enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs Enterprise include the following. A. Combs and other members and associates of the Combs Enterprises wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborated and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs Enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. Freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant, sometimes unbeknownst to the victims. Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sexual acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Members of the Associated Combs Enterprises, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other Combs business employees, facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. Cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arrange for travel for victims, commercial sex workers and Combs to and from the freak-offs, resupplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial sex workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. In or about March 2024, during the searches of Combs' residency in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promise of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and separate from freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects, and dragged victims at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak-offs. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security, or without repercussion in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. Members of the Associate of the Combs Enterprise include Combs security personnel, at times carried firearms. On more than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate or threaten others, including victims of and witnesses to his abuse. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residencies in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, law enforcement seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, as well as drum magazines. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise enable Combs' control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to the victims, advancing or suppressing the victims' career opportunities, acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep the victims complacent. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence towards the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs Enterprise helped conceal the violence and abuse by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations such as hotels or Combs residencies. These occasions included instances in which the victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. When employee witnessed to his abuse or others threatened Combs' authority or reputation, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise engaged in acts of violence, threats of financial or reputational harm, and verbal abuse. These acts of violence include kidnapping and arson. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw both objects and people, as well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. When Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023, following the public allegation of Combs' crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with a false narrative of events in the effort to conceal Combs' crimes. Combs caused these calls to be recorded on at least 2 occasions. The racketeering conspiracy. From least in about 2008 through on or about the date of the filing of this indictment in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant, and other known and unknown being persons employed by and associated with the Combs enterprise described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment, an enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States, to wit, Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962C, that is to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as the term is defined in Title 18, United States Code, Section 1961 and 1965, consisted of multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 207, kidnapping; California Penal Code 21A, 644, attempt; California Penal Code 31, aiding and abetting; California Penal Code 182, conspiracy. Multiple acts involving arson, chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 451, arson; California Penal Code 21A, 664, attempt; California Penal Code 31, aiding and abetting; and California Penal Code 182, conspiracy. Multiple acts involving bribery and chargeable under the following provisions of state law: California Penal Code 137A, bribery of a witness; California Penal Code 21A, 664, attempt; California Penal Code 31, aiding and abetting; and California Penal Code 182, conspiracy. Multiple acts indetectable under Title 18, United States Code, Section 1591 and 2, relating to sex trafficking. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18, United States Code, Sections 2421, 2422, and 2, relating to transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of prostitution or other illegal sexual acts; and H, multiple offenses involving the possession with the intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including cocaine, oxycodone, alzaproham, 3,4-methanol dioxymethamphetamine, which is MDA, I believe, 4-broxamine, 2.5 dimethylmethylane, gamma hydroboric acid, and ketamine, in violations of Title 21, United States Code, Section 841A1, B1C, B1E, and B2, and 846, distribution and possession with the intent to distribute, and conspiracy to do the same. And Title 18, United States Code, Section 2, aiding, abetting, and willfully causing, is a part of the conspiracy. The Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. Notice of special sentencing factors: from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, as part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, Sean Combs, the defendant, agreed to, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transportate, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threat of force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18, United States Code, Section 1591E2, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in commercial sex acts in violation of Title 18, United States Section Code 591A1 and B1. Title 18, States Code, Section 1962D. Count 2. Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Victim 1. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up and including in or about 2018, the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, the defendant, in affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, advertised, maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that the means of force, threats of force, fraud, or coercion, as described in Title 18, United States Section 1591E2, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial sex act, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained a person, victim 1, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused victim 1 to engage in commercial sex acts, knowing in reckless disregard of the fact that victim 1 was engaging in commercial sex acts as a result of force, fraud, and coercion. Title 18, United States Code, Section 1591A, 1B1, 1594A, and 2. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to the including in or 2024 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendant knowingly transported an individual in the interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individual engaged in prostitution and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs transported, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial sex workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in prostitution. Title 18, United States Code, Section 2421A and 2. Forfeiture allegations. As a result of the committing the offense alleged in count 1 of the indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code, Section 1963, any and all interstate interest the defendant acquired or maintained in violation of Title 18. United States Code, Section 1962, and all interest in securities of, claims against, and property or contractual rights of any kind afforded a source of influence over the enterprise named and described herein, which the defendant established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of, in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1962, and any and all property constituting and derived from proceeds obtained directly and indirectly said offenses, including but not limited to a sum of money in the United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. As the result of committing the offense alleged in count 2 of the indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States, pursuit of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1594, any and all property, real and personal, involved in, used, or intended to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of said offenses, and any and all property traceable to such property, and any and all property, real and personal, constituting or derived from proceeds obtaining directly or indirectly as a result of said offenses, including not limited to a sum of money in the United States currency representing the amount of property involved in said offenses, and proceed traceable to the commission of said offenses. As a result of committing the offense allegedly in count 3 of the indictment, Sean Combs, the defendant, shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code, Section 2428, any and all property, real and personal, constituting or derived from proceeds obtaining directly or indirectly as a result of said offenses, any and all property, real or personal, that was used to intend to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of said offense, and Title 18, United States Section Code 981A1C, Title 828, United States Code Section 2461, and any and all property and real and personal that constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to the commission of said offenses, including but not limited to a sum of money in the United States currency representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. Substitute and asset provision. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of act of omission of the defense cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It is the intent of the United States pursuant of Title 18 United States Code Section 1963M, Title 21 United States Code Section 853P, Title 28 United States Code Section 2461C to seek forfeiture of any property of the defendant up to the value of the above forfeitable property. And it is signed by the foreperson and Damian Williams and whatnot by the United States Attorney. So here's my thing. Aren't they seeking also criminal charges? Because that was talking about forfeiting properties and money. Yeah, don't look through there, Baby Shark. You can't be doing all that. I'm so sorry about the ligament, K-Fam. Let me know what they say. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Racing Stars. Good morning, love. Hey, Catfish, beautiful. I was just reading the indictment for that's the indictment right there for Diddy, right? But here's the thing. That indictment says a lot about properties and money. That's what it says a lot about. Did y'all hear that near the end? They were pursuant of any properties that were involved in the freak offs too. Properties, and properties can mean a lot of things. Here's the thing. It doesn't just mean physical property that you own. It also means like money. It means like if you have like a offshore bank account or a bank account, it can mean like pow-pows and different things. So woo. I'm hoping you won't need surgery either, K-Fam, because that really sucks. You know, that's something, you know, the third degree could go over, Miss Danny, if you're still here, or Miss Betty, if you're in the clouds. I'm just saying. The criminal charges, what I just read, they're saying that those are criminal. You know, he is charged with, his criminal charging are racketeering. He is charged with, hold on, let me scroll down here because it tells the exact. This is the indictment that they handed in to the racket. They have racketeering. He's charged with racketeering conspiracy. He's charged with he's charged with multiple offenses, right? He's charged with sex trafficking by force, fraud, or conversion. He is charged with transportation to engage in prostitution. He's basically got a RICO charge. So it's mostly for the prostitution, transporting prostitutes across straight, and to do prostitution across state lines. So he is charged with sex trafficking and the list of. Let's look at the list of the full. So the I just read that indictment. So it's a blistering 3-count indictment. Diddy is accused of running an enterprise to fulfill sexual desires from around. Yeah, we know about that. I just read the indictment. The first count Diddy is indicted is on racketeering charges involving threats and coercion to fulfill his sexual desires. Count 2, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. And count 3, Diddy transportation to engage in prostitution. So, transportation to engage in prostitution, racketeering, and he is also charged with, let's see, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. So, those are the 3 indictments. Yeah, I know it's for the criminal case, but it's also in the indictment. What got me was if you read at the end of the indictment for the criminal thing, they talk about taking any property and forfeiture of any property and or the same value as money. Which basically means that they're basically going to take a bunch of his shit and put him in jail. You know, break it down to bare bones. They're basically going to take any, if he is found guilty of all charges, any property that was involved with any of this, whether it be his homes, his cars, anything like that, and anything that he got, even if it could be the record company, it could be the the enterprises themselves, all of them, anything that was involved in this sex trafficking, prostitution, and RICO, anything that is involved, they're going to take over. They're going to take over all of it and throw him in jail. So they're going to take his shit and throw him in jail. I'm just saying, that's what that indictment just said at the end of that. Was the real indictment, the one that the news has said at the very end. If you read the very end, there's a notice of special, they have the special sentencing factor right here. You read after that, it's, let me tell you where it says on what page. Yeah, it says it starts on forfeiture allegations. So on page 12, they talk about in the indictment, not just for his criminal charges, right? But they said that pretty much any money that was made, any property that was bought, any indirectly, directly obtained because of said offenses, including but not limited to a sum of money in the United States currency representing the amount of property involved in said offense, proceeds traceable to the commission of said offense. They're not just going for criminal charges, right? They're going for the criminal, but they're also going for, he's not fixing to be no billionaire no more. He doesn't be broke if they win. And he ain't going to have the properties and none of the ways to be able to continue his enterprises. In fact, they may make him sell off Bad Boy Entertainment and every single one of his holdings to pay the money that he made. If they prove without a shadow of doubt how much money he made doing this stuff, he'll have to pay every bit of that to the United States. Yeah, I know. I heard about that tiny Tootsie Roll catfish. That he had a little baby Tootsie Roll. Buster wants to know, has anybody heard from Twin Mama recently? Now, I did hear Mr. Buster that she was okay and that she was just living her best life and that she knows we all love her and miss her. Because I made sure I put that out there myself, that those who speak to and or have a private communication with Twin Mama, to tell her that we miss her and that we love her and that we care about her and that people just want to know she's okay. And I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday I asked that question and she was okay at that point. But see, if they can prove catfish, even if it's in his mama's name, that because she's also an employee, if I'm not mistaken, of Bad Boy Entertainment and the Enterprise, as they say. Yes, Miss Raditha talked to her yesterday. It was yesterday. I was making sure it was yesterday, Miss Raditha, because you know it could my mind and how things have been going. But Miss Raditha said she's okay and she knows we love her and we miss her and all that stuff, and whatnot. But they gonna get that money. They're gonna get all property and all forfeiture. And if they don't want to sell off property, they're gonna have to give the cash value of whatever it is. And they said even if he had transferred it to somebody else, so even if he tried to get out of it before he knew these charges were coming by transferring shit to other people, if it showed that in any way any money from Bad Boy Entertainment went into said property, they're pretty much going to take everything. That could include his mama's house. That could include, you know what I'm saying, his mama's cars. If it was bought with Bad Boy money or the Enterprise's money, and the Enterprise was making money off the prostitution, anything that's under that heading can get got. Even if it was transferred, they have to give the amount of money that it was worth. So let's say he transferred one of his businesses in his mama's name and somebody else owns it now. And let's say she's not an employee of Bad Boy or the Enterprise or any of that shit, right? And now she owns it outright. They would have to then give the amount of money that it's worth, or sell it off and get the money. Yeah, they fixing to hit him not only with criminal charges, but in the pocketbook too. But anyways, I today have to go. I want to tell y'all, today is my son's fibro scan. I want to thank all y'all who support my channel and everybody who has poured into me in any way, shape, or form, because y'all helped me pay for this test today. I want to thank y'all, every one of you. Whether you hit a like button, you hit the watch button, whatever you may have contributed in any way, shape, or form, y'all helped me pay for that out of pocket. I want to thank every single one of y'all. I want y'all to know how appreciative I am of every one of you. Of course, I would have paid for it anyway, but I wanted to thank y'all and let y'all know that y'all helped with that situation. You know what I'm saying? Had to pay for it out of pocket. His insurance would not cover it. I just wanted to say thank y'all for that. He has his appointment here in a little while. We have not got back the test results yet, because as soon as I figure out and know what's going on, I am going to keep y'all updated on that. And I don't care if a hater's watching and reports. I don't give a damn about that shit. I don't watch them anyway, and so I don't care. Right? I don't care what any of the haters say, because I'm not paying attention to any of the shit they're saying or doing. I don't watch. I'm not paying attention. Just to tell you the truth, I don't have time for all that shit. So whatever. So I just wanted to let y'all know that is coming up today. He does have another follow-up in 6 weeks pretty much. And we're just waiting for all the tests and stuff to come back so that we can get a definite answer, and everything. Just keep him in your prayers at this moment, that everything goes good, everything goes well. I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to thank you all for being amazing people. You're all very much in my heart, and you're all amazing to me. And thank you to anybody who catches this replay, because they was busy this morning. Thank you to all my bush watchers who may not be able to jump down and drop down in the chat because they're busy doing things. Thank you to everybody who chatted today, and just thank you for every single thing. I want you to know that I don't want you to ever walk out of this room and feel like you're not appreciated, you're not cared about, you're not loved, because you are over here. Even to y'all who are hate watching me right now, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me that click and that view. And here's the thing, if you're not an evil person, don't be afraid to drop down. I'm not saying that somebody else might not cuss you. I'm just saying, Hey, Mr. Jim, the best Jim, the only Jim, Mr. Jim Coddington. I hope you're having a good day, Mr. Jim. Thank you for all your support. Thank you, Happy. Thank you, Catfish, Miss Raditha, Racing, Mr. Buster, Catfish, Miss Watcher, K Fam, my babe James. Thank you to Mr. Joe, I suppose your name is, TNW Logger. Thank you to Mr. Trock, Miss Danny, Miss Georgia Girl, my TT, my Miss Catherine. I'm scrolling right quick. My D Ham show. Thank you, Mr. Maddie, Miss Jenny Gamecock. Thank you, love. Thank you to all of you. I want you to always know you're appreciated here, you're loved here, and you're cared about. And tomorrow, when we do Friday, hopefully I'll have an update for y'all. I'm sorry that the update's slow because we're just waiting on. We're still waiting. I hope she's okay too, Mr. Buster, and I hope she comes back. I hope she don't stay away, but if she's doing what's best for her and her family, I totally understand, and real life always comes first. Always. Also, next week, on Topic Tuesday, I'm going to put this out there. If we're going to do, and I'll re-say it, my medical show, Catfish, is going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be on Wednesday. Thank you, Mr. Jim Coddington. It's going, oh, and Miss Beth got it, Miss Betty, Miss Rhonda, Miss Georgia Girl, and Star. Oh, that was the best one. Look at it. Tell her that just to know that we love her and care about her, and regardless of whatever she does, do what's best for her and her life. You know what I'm saying? Do what's best for her, and we understand, but we do miss her and love her. And none for Buster Bremis, you know, like Gretchen will, you know, like on, and none for Gretchen will, you know, like on Mean Girls. But thank you so very much. Tell her that we care, that we love her, and that, you know, if she decides to, we're here. If she decides not to, we understand. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of people do truly care about her. You know, some of us, we don't get into the infighting. We don't get into when people are upset with each other because, you know, we care about both parties. We care about all involved. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I myself, but what I was saying is Tuesday, we're going to do, and I'll re-say it Monday so people can send in their pictures. I thought we would do like pet of the week pictures. Like we could send in a cute picture of our pet that we took that week, or one of our favorite photos of our pets. And we could just like look at cute puppies and puppy dogs and have, you know, a moment and whatnot, or kitty cats or birdies or whatever your pet is, you know, whether you have a lizard or a snake, it don't matter. You know, but cute pictures of your animals. And I figured we could start doing that on Tuesdays and just have cute pictures sent in, right? I thought that would be a good idea, something sweet to do. And I know people love bragging on their babies, their fur babies. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if y'all think that's a good idea, we'll do that on Topic Tuesdays. Wellness Wednesdays, this next Wednesday. If you have a specific thing that you want to bring up for Wellness Wednesday, let me know under the comments of this video. You know, if you have something like a true crime thing that you want to bring up on Thursday, or, you know, something freaky, spooky on Friday, or whatever, or Mod Mystery Monday. You know, if you just have something that you want to talk about, and we can even just make it a coffee conversation. If you want to have a conversation about something that you yourself want to talk about, let me know. Catfish, it will be Wednesday. I usually do Wellness Wednesday, but I could do it on a Topic Tuesday if you would like. You know, whatever you want to talk about. You know, I do Wellness Wednesday as Wellness Wednesday. Tomorrow is Friday, which we don't have a topic for. So if you want to do it tomorrow or talk about a specific wellness topic tomorrow, we could. because Friday's just chill day. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a specific topic in mind, just let me know. If you have a specific medical topic, we can do that on Friday and chill and talk about it. I can make it a coffee conversation and we could talk about it. You know, because coffee conversations entails everything. So we go from anywhere from the hood to the White House. You know, we could talk about anything during a coffee conversation because we're just having conversations, right? You know, just let me know, Catfish, if you have a specific topic you want to talk about, beautiful. You need to know about diabetes. So we'll cover that tomorrow. How about that? How about that, Catfish? We'll go over diabetes, the different things that you can do, the different things that you should stay away from, what the recommended diet is for someone with diabetic, and just like, you know, just a huge informational thing. I will tell you that my father and my mother both are diabetic, and my father has been put on a medication called Farxiga that has helped him. He has his A1C lowered and does not have to be on insulin. However, my mother is on insulin, you know, for forever, ever. Until I have a best friend who is juvenile diabetes, and she is now coming up for a kidney transplant. She is on dialysis. So yeah, she's younger than I am, and you know. But we'll do all things diabetes tomorrow. How about that, Catfish? Will you be available tomorrow? Just making sure. I want to make sure it's on a day that you're available, sweet girl. Much love your way, Mr. Busters. But just let me know, Catfish, if that's something that you yourself, you're going to be, you know, here tomorrow, or you want to do it on a Tuesday, and we'll do all things diabetes. We'll talk about all things diabetes and the things that you can do, the things you should stay away from. We'll just do a full breakdown of the diet changes you need to make, possible things that can help you get your A1C under check. I figure we could do that tomorrow if you want, because diabetes sucks. It really does. It sucks. It really, really sucks. Sucks. It sucks. It really... Okay. You know, had to do that right quick. But I figured we'd do that tomorrow. We could do that tomorrow. Yeah, no biggie. Just let me know if it's going to work out for you, Catfish. I want to make sure that you... Well, even if you can't catch it, I know you'll be able to catch the replay. But I am going to jump out of here. But yeah, diabetes tomorrow. We'll do diabetes on Friday. We'll do it on Friday. We're going to talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about diabetes and wellness on Friday. Because who says we got to do it just one day a week? You know what I'm saying? Who says that? Nobody said that. We can talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. Right? And so tomorrow I'll compile a bunch of information for the diabetic talk. Anybody who is diabetic and would like to come up and speak tomorrow and talk about your experiences and what helped you, or how you control your A1Cs, or, you know, yes, it very is true, Mr. Buster. My husband was pre-diabetic, and through lifestyle changes, he is doing good, and his you know, sugars and A1C is in check. He doesn't have to be on anything. So we'll do that tomorrow, okay? I love y'all. I'll see y'all on these streets. We'll compile the evidence, and anybody who wants to join tomorrow, you may do so. You know, if you want to talk about what you've been through while you've had it, or if you were pre-diabetic, or, you know, anything like that. So I just want to say blessings and much love. I'll see y'all tomorrow, and tomorrow's going to be diabetics. We're going to talk about diabetes, and anybody who wants to, you know, share their journey with diabetes, you may do so. I will give him a big old hug from all of y'all, and I want to thank you all. I got to go make sure he is taking his shower, because y'all know how kids are. I ain't even got to tell you. And he's a 17-year-old boy. Yep. But huggies, beautiful people. Bye. Love you all. Oh, Lord Jesus, sweet baby Jesus.
I'm from the T-U-B-E-L-O. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the T-U-B-E-L-O. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go from the T-U-B-E-L-O. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show from the T-U-B-E-L-O. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go.
I'm from the west side, we don't need no introduction, this was the best ride. We all big boy rolling and holding, come take a test drive. Hilldale, Evergreen, Glenkirk, Adder Street, bending every corner on the west, and that's where I'll be. Sunroof back, checking seat banging down 1800, chunking up the deuce to my post slanging down on 1800. Show no love to the ladies that's training round on 1800, making time stand still, crystalline swinging down on 1800. Watching out for them knuckleheads that be stanging round on 1800. Big rims and low pros be blanging round on 1800. Better completely change the way you're thinking about round 1800. Really hate to see you boys get left slanking round 1800. Out of street got some history, just let Captain C lay it out. If I don't finish it all on this one, let the second verse break it out. Remember the blue apartments when OG standing back there by 60 deep. Bull walking, saw blue a big Anthony using P.
I'm from the T-U-B-E-L-O. I'm reppin' my